Hello everyone, welcome to the day 2 of the Enthusiastic Summit. I am Samyak Jain and I'm very happy to welcome you all. Yesterday was a blast, I guess, with such wonderful sessions. Today, it is going to be focused more on interviews, how exactly what are the nuances of technical interviews, looking at from starting from the session on data structures and algorithm, preparing it for the placement, keeping placement in mind, going to the technical interviews, the do's and don'ts of technical interviews, then to how to sell yourself in an HR interview. Then we have an interesting panel of senior HR leaders who will be joining us, who will be telling about what freshers should keep in mind and why they are not being hired the way they present themselves. So those nuances, and after that, we're going to cover the keynote session. Feel free to mention on the comments if we are audible, if we are visible. Please do let us know so that we can start today's session. We'll be starting in another 2 minutes. We are just waiting for everyone to join. And please feel free to enter your questions in the comments. We'll be taking it up to the speakers in each of the sessions. Yes. So meanwhile, other people are joining. Hi Harsh, I'm really glad to welcome you to the first session of day 2. Thank you for keeping your time on a busy and lazy Sunday for all of us.
Yeah, Samyak. Hi everyone. Glad to be here.
So for everyone's reference, Harsh Sharma is the co-founder and CTO of AQ Job, and they've been doing a really good work at AQ Job. We have also partnered with them, getting to hear some really successful stories within like 3-4 months of association of getting placements in the top companies, and no one better than Harsh can actually be there to teach us about or train us about the nuances of data structures and algorithm, which becomes an important part for the programming from the placement point of view. Harsh is an IIT Delhi alum, and he has been training people on data structures, algorithm, and MERN stack. I think it is going to be really valuable. Thank you, Harsh, again from the behalf of all of us at MyWays and all of us who have joined this session today. Yes, Harsh, over to you. We can start maybe a bit about what exactly is your work at AQ Job, what exactly AQ Job is doing, and then we'll move slowly into the technical details of data structures and algorithms.
Okay, yeah, great. So talking about myself, I graduated from IIT Delhi in 2017. I did my bachelor's in electrical engineering. Post that, I worked at a MNC sort of a company where I was responsible for building analytics models, so models on basically ML and deep learning as well, for clients that were based in US. So insurance companies like Geico, companies like Liberty Insurance, really big behemoths in the US. So that was my first job straight out of college. Uh, After doing that for about 10 months, I decided to start up on my own. And so since around 2018, we have been looking at the different problems that the students actually face in landing a job, and how we as people who have got the technical skills can actually help out people and help them crack whatever jobs they're willing to do. So in order to start this, I would like to share a small deck which will help us basically try and cover every topic. So just give me a second, I'll share this. Guys, are you able to see the screen? Is there any way I can find that out somewhere?
Yes, the screen is visible, Harsh.
Okay, all right, great. So yeah, so when we started up, we tried to look at all the different problems that the students can face while getting placements, and then we decided to zero in on where we think we can deliver the most value, right? So the idea evolved during the entire time from 2018, and right now what we're doing is We are a 6-month full stack training bootcamp, which gets students placed in top product based companies in India. Okay. So we only target companies that are looking for people who will join in on salaries greater than 5 LPA. And we only focus on roles that really require people to be smart, and hence they're getting paid well doing those jobs. So we started this particular bootcamp somewhere around September, and we have seen tremendous opportunity in this particular space. So our first, within our first batch itself, that was 40 odd students, we have been able to place students in big MNCs like Amazon and Visa, as well as young startups that are growing in the country. So companies like BharatPe and companies like Park Plus, which are raising huge amounts of money from investors and hiring in large numbers. So currently, our average batch CTC of the students that have gotten placed is somewhere around 8 LPA. So we really think that we deliver value to all of these students. Talking about the topic for today, which is data structures and algorithms. In order to first understand why data structures and algorithms are important, let's try to figure out why is it that tech is becoming such a big hirer of graduates in the today's world. Okay. Talking specifically about India, the situation is actually pretty dismal. Currently, 1.5 million engineering graduates exit their colleges each year, and we see that only about a third of them are actually getting placed straight out of college. And even when you zero in on these numbers, you'll realize that most of the jobs are jobs which are jobs by mass recruiters. So companies like TCS, companies like Wipro, which pay somewhere around 3.5 LPA, and they are mostly service-based companies where you are supposed to work on a particular project for 3 to 6 months and then keep on switching between the projects. What we had in mind was, we see that there is a need of a lot of software developers which are going to add value not to these mass recruiters, but to your global brands or global companies, as well as fast growing startups in India. So your companies like Swiggy, companies like Paytm, as well as MNCs like Google, companies like Microsoft and Amazon. So these are the types of jobs that we have in mind for our courses as well. And these are the types of jobs that are growing in the country as well. Talking specifically about India, there's a famous phrase going around in the world that the software is eating the world, right? What we believe is that India is uniquely positioned to actually eat software in this space. That is because when you look at it from a global perspective, you do realize that there are some specific conditions that exist in India which only exist here and nowhere else. That is why it is predicted that by 2025, there will be 5 million more developers jobs than there are currently. And college's curriculum and their pedagogy is nowhere near enough as good enough as you want it to be to really capture those jobs. Okay. So that is why it is really important for a graduate to really develop his skills and look out for skills and develop those skills which are in demand for these sorts of jobs. So talking about DSA or data structures and algorithms, so some of you might have already seen some jobs come to your college as well. And maybe you've talked to your seniors as well around where they got placed and what did they focus on. So one thing you'll realize is that data structures and algorithms are a fundamental building block of preparing for any sort of tech job which is going to pay you a decent salary. And by decent salary, I mean a salary that is above 5 LPA. So when you talk about data structures and algorithms, there are numerous topics, but I would encourage you to not be worried about the number of topics that are there. And really focus on each topic at a time. Okay, so major topics include your arrays and strings and stacks and everything. But if you look at the trend that is there in companies these days, companies are moving towards more of a skill-based hiring than grilling you on DSA alone. Okay, so what that means is, it is now possible for every student to focus in on 20% of the toughness of DSA and really be able to cater to 80% of the jobs that are there in the market. So I can promise you that if you're really good in arrays, strings, stacks, queues, linked lists, as well as heaps, okay, along with some basic recursion, and you can analyze the space and time complexity of whatever functions you design. So basically, you're confident in linear data structures, you're good with space and time complexity, and you're good with recursion. You will be able to capture at least 80% of the jobs that are out there. Okay. Talking more about this movement from solely data structured focused hiring to hiring based on skills, you do need to prepare yourselves on the new age skills or the things that the modern web is built from. So you'll have to at least come up with a couple of projects that are around web development. In case you want a job in web development, in case you want to go for apps, you need to come up with a few basic apps on your own. So something like maybe a to-do app could be a good point to start, which you can build in Android as well or React Native as well, whatever your preference may be. So that totally depends on you. But what is important is you at least focus on the linear data structures part while you are learning those skills, because there is no job out there which is paying good money in tech and is not going to judge you on data structures and algorithms. And that is plainly the need for data structures and algorithms for you. Okay. So if you're clear on this and you're clear that the demand for tech is increasing and no company is going to hire you at a decent salary in case you don't have at least the linear level data structure skills, then the next step you should think about is how you should start. Okay, so in the world we're all living in, everything is available on YouTube, on Google, right? So I would really encourage each and every one of you to go to YouTube and type IIT Delhi NPTEL Data Structures course. It is a great course taught by a great professor. There would be a lot of lectures there. I do understand that the level of discipline and the grit that is required to complete all of those sort of boring videos for more than a month is a huge amount. That is actually where we come in as well. So we actually provide you a complete framework in which you can access all of this information that is available throughout the internet freely, and you keep at it as well. So one example I can give is we assign mentors to students, right? And we also hold weekly calls with all students that we have. And in this weekly call, we chat about the non-technical parts. So we talk about how your life is going, how things are going at your home, what sort of hours are you giving to work right now, what are the problems that are there, and we try and figure out how we can actually help you in all of those categories. In case you wish to do this alone, the material is available on the internet, but I would tell you that it will require a level of dedication and discipline which might be challenging to a lot of folks. So whenever people start preparing data structures and algorithms, they mostly get comfortable with the theory, right? Maybe not from top-notch professors, but there are a lot of YouTube videos as well which help you out and give you at least the basic theory. So that part is clear, right? The tough part with data structures and algorithms is practicing each day. You need to spend 3 to 4 hours daily at least on a minimum side in case you wish to crack these jobs over a long timeline. So something like 3 or 4 months would be required to fully master DSA in case you are doing 3 or 4 hours of effort each day. So in case you're willing to do that, there are obviously places like Geeks for Geeks, LeetCode, Codeforces, and InterviewBit as well, which where you can go and practice all of these questions. The language part is something that I think the student focus on randomly. You really don't need to worry too much about the language. if you're comfortable with writing for loops or if else statements in a particular language, just go with the language. Okay. And the language is one of these 4 or 5 which are pretty much standard in the industry. So the reason for picking these languages up is that your interviewer would probably have some familiarity with these. So he can probably give you a nudge or something in case you made a syntax error or did a sort of a mistake, right? So that is why it would be great if you could pick one of C or C++ or Python or Java or JavaScript as well for data structures. But apart from that, it is easy to pick up the language. You can, so once you're comfortable with the hello world, writing if else statements and writing for loops and while loops, that is it to start DSA. From then on, you can just start solving questions and slowly pick up the nuances of the language that are there. The way we do data structures and algorithms is we try to really focus on data structures for the first 2 months of the course. So we would ask students, we would give students questions to solve each day, which will be discussed the next day. And the students will have to spend 6 hours a day minimum, apart from the 2-hour theory lectures in the evening, in order to actually solve all the questions that we have given them. Okay. Post that, post the first 2 months, we sort of move to the web development side and the React JS sides of things. So we, but even during those stages, it is important that the student still gives at least a couple of hours each day practicing data structures questions. Because let me tell you, data structures are easy to forget in the sense that you'll know the basics. You'll know what a stack is, right? A stack is a simple stack, right? But solving all the different sorts of questions that could be there associated with a stack would require you to keep yourselves up to date and solve at least 5 or 6 questions once every 10 days associated with stack in particular. So when you talk about all the topics combined, you do realize that it will be decent amount of work. So 2 hours a day of work that you will have to give in every day. Once you're comfortable with this sort of stuff, okay, so the stuff that we have seen is, first of all, you need to zero in on a programming language. Zero in on a programming language is easy. Just pick up any of these. If you don't know anyone, if you know some language, just stick with that as well. Not an issue, right? Look at the theory. So theory, if you want to watch videos, you can go for YouTube with this particular keywords that I've mentioned. In case you want to watch some, read some articles or something, there are resources available on the internet and most of them do a fine job of explaining the theory part. Don't focus too much on the theory part. Keep 1 hour to 1.5 hours of theory each day. Theory is not that important. Okay. It is easy. It is easy to understand what a queue is, or easy to understand even how you insert an element in a binary search tree or something like that, right? The tough part is to actually implement those things. And so try to skew your number of hours in a direction which will enable you to focus really hard on the practicing part, on the solving questions part. One more thing that the students ask a lot is, should they go for timed exams or maybe like measure the amount of time they're going to require in solving a particular question? Now that makes sense. It is true that in an interview setting, you will be required to solve a particular question in a given time. But if you're just starting out, at least for the first 2 months, I would encourage you not do that. What I would encourage you to do is try and attach or try and just solve whatever problem you have in infinite time. So what I mean by that is, if it takes 3 hours, solve the particular question in 3 hours. If it takes 4 hours, solve it in 4 hours, right? Not an issue. It is only after the first 2 months and after you have seen all the different types of data structures and all the different types of problems that could be there, should you focus more on the speed side. Okay, so speed is an optimization, which if you've given any data structures interview, you know that first you try a brute force approach, right? And only then go for optimizations. It is a standard practice, right? So even in your preparation, try to have this sort of an attitude in your mind. time is an optimization. First, it is important that you are actually able to solve the question. Okay. So given whatever number of hours are required to solve a particular question, and be really focused on a particular problem, and try and move ahead only after you've solved that particular question, right? Now, with this approach, one thing is assumed that you are not going to just on the first day take up a Ford Fulkerson implementation and go through it, right? What you need to do is to slowly scale up. And most of these platforms will have all of their questions packed into different levels. Start with the easy or the medium, easy levels, basic and easy levels. Once you're confident in solving those and can as soon as you read the problem can understand what the solution would be, only then move towards the medium problems. And medium these days, with people moving on to skill based hiring, solving the medium level problems is enough in order to crack 80 to 90% of all the jobs that are there. I would really recommend not go after super hard problems now, because there was a time when they were important in cracking uh, interviews. So folks whom we got placed at companies like Amazon and Microsoft as well, really focused in on the medium level problems and some well-known hard problems, and that should be enough to crack a 30 LPA salary as well. So that is not an issue anymore. Optimize your time and not go after the really hard problems in today's world. Once you have spent a couple of months solving all the different sorts of questions on all the data structures that are there, and it will take you at least 2 months. So the way we do our courses, we select only the smartest folks that apply to our entrance exam. So the entrance exam is happening on 25th this month. In case some of you want that framework and that guidance to help you around those tough data structures questions as well, and how to go about learning web development as well, do sign up onto our website. The link is somewhere here. Yeah, accujob.com, right? In case you want to prep on your own, do realize that it will take you at least 2 to 3 months of solid 6-7 hour effort each day in order to get a semblance of comfortableness with data structures and algorithms. Once you're past this stage, past the first 2 months, the next thing you should do is go for mock interviews and time the amount of time you're taking in solving a particular question. It is only after the first 2 months that you should do this. So for taking mock interviews, there are a lot of free websites as well. There are paid services as well, which you can take up. We actually take care of all the mock interviews and everything for our students. So that is completely on us. So you can use something like Pramp.com or InterviewBit for a peer-to-peer mock interview. So peer-to-peer mock is basically you take a mock of a student, you are given an entire sheet which you need to fill, and then you give a mock to a student. So something like that, right? It does not sound very exciting, and it seems like it won't be super useful, but it actually is. And it is something I used in my college during my first placements as well. So after the first 2 months, two things: mock interviews on Pramp or InterviewBit, and then timed contests on whatever platforms you find timed contests at. It is after this that you can actually focus on building a data structures based project as well. So there are some ideas here which you can use. I will ask Samyak to share this PPT link somewhere so that you're able to look at all these topics. So the idea of a data structures project is you have a couple of points to add into your CV as well as you get a feel of how your learnings are actually useful in some pretty standard applications that you see all around you. So you can actually build a chest just by learning backtracking and recursion and object-oriented programming. So or a Huffman encoder can be built. You can even build a text editor which has an undo redo option using a stack. So all those things you can implement. only after these three things, adding a data structures project to your CV, giving some mock interviews. So aim for something like 5 to 10 mock interviews, depending on how you're performing, and going into timed contests. After doing all these things, you can start to really apply your resumes and your CVs to places like InstaHire or AngelList, where you actually see these startups, early stage startups, and MNCs hiring these days. So that is definitely a place you should put your CV in. One more thing you can do is with the shift to more skill-based hiring, you can definitely pick up on maybe buy a recorded video course or something in case you wish to on Android App Dev or MERN or how to use Java in building backends or creating APIs. So that sort of a thing is something also you can add to your repertoire so that companies are really able to see you actually performing well on the skills that they will be using in your new job. So here are some helpful links as well for the questions in case people are looking for where to solve the problems, for more problems to solve. I'll ask Samyak to share these with you as well. He'll post it somewhere or maybe email you all those things. Yeah, so that is more or less from my side and everything I wanted to share with all of you. Yeah, Samyak.
Yes. Thank you, Harsh. I think that was quite detailed. And I guess there are some questions which have been put up. We'll take them maybe after a break of around 1 or 2 minutes. Meanwhile, because you have been speaking for last non-stop for last 20 minutes, so I think you would require a break for 2 minutes. Meanwhile, all the people out there can put your questions in the YouTube comment section, and we'll take them to Harsh. Any question about the preparation, about the interviews, about anything. So Harsh is the right person. He has been training a lot of people who are finally placed at good companies. So I think please take this opportunity at the best.
Okay, so I am seeing some questions here. Should I discuss those, Samyak?
Yes, I think so. Before we start, Monica is asking how to start initially. Monica, can you be a bit more elaborative about the question, or we'll take it on the face of it? If you can be more elaborative, that will be helpful. Yes. So Harsh, the first question is by Mayank. I think there is a good interest in our community also about the work that AQJob is doing, and he's asking, can you share some more details of the course that AQJob is providing?
Okay, yeah, I'll be glad to. Uh, so at AccioJob, we basically train you in all the modern skills that are required for getting a job in either an early stage startup that is growing really fast or a top MNC that is expanding in the country, right? So whether it be your data structures and algorithm skills, whether it be helping you create a very good front end for working at an early stage startup, or whether it be writing APIs and interacting with a backend. So all sorts of technical skills that are required to get placed in an early stage startup or an MNC is being catered to by us. So the way our course works is we first take an entrance test on the basis of your, so the entrance test has nothing to do with programming. It is just an aptitude test based on your class 12th mathematics, right? So your stuff like basic probability, basic logical reasoning, something sort of a questions around data interpretation or logical reasoning, stuff like that. very basic stuff which you don't really need to prepare for. Once that is done and you have been selected, then we actually train you for a full week for free. Okay, so we don't charge anything for this. You can at any time stop using the service as well, no issues. During the first week, we teach you basics of a particular programming language. So that might depend on a particular trend we see in the market. So we typically go with Java. We train you on very basic stuff. So just the basics of recursion, of conditionals, of how to. So the first class actually starts from writing the hello world sort of a function, right? After the first week is done, so throughout the week, you're also given questions on all of these topics and they are discussed the next day. The classes are all live on Zoom. So 1 hour of doubt session plus 2 hours of lectures each day for the first week. Post that week, depending on your performance during the last week, whether you've solved all the assignments that we have given you and whether you are actually willing to do the course, depending on all those factors, we take a one-on-one interview with you. In this interview, we judge you on the problems that we have already taught you in the week. Okay, so the entire course till now hasn't demanded any existing programming knowledge from you. In case you clear that interview, we actually offer you our contract, which you can sign, and only then are you a part of the main course. So the main course will last for 6 months. You will be taught everything that we have discussed today and everything else that is required for landing a top tech job above 5 LPA. You will study with us every day for 6 months. So every day we'll have 2 hours of live lectures and assign a lot of assignments and projects and hackathons on the weekends as well. And only after you have landed a job, you have joined the job, you have got your first salary. So you are already 1 month into your job, which you've got after our training. Do we start charging from you guys? Okay, so you don't have to pay anything in case you don't get a job above 5 LPA. You don't have to pay us anything in case you, in case due to some personal reason or something you're not able to complete the course or something like that. We don't charge anything from our students until they have earned their first salary after they have joined a job paying above 5 LPA. So yeah, that is how the course is structured.
I think the beauty of this is that you take students literally from 0 to 1, just that they should be very clear about the basics, and that too not about the programming, I guess, about aptitude and all. And because we are also working with EcoJob on the placement front, on connecting the students with the employers, I can definitely say that the students are quite well trained. So yes, I think we also do float the information about the next batch. We'll float it in our community as well. So all of those people who are in the WhatsApp groups will be floating there, and emails too. So Harsh, there's a question from a first year student. So yes, this question was like something interesting. What is the right time for a person to actually go into data structures and algorithm? When should someone start? There are two different kind of views. One are those who say that in the first or second year you make your data structures and algorithm basics very strong, so that in internships and jobs you do not face any issue even in third year or in the final year. The other way of looking at it is generally people do it during their placement season, that is in the 6th or 7th semester. So
yeah, I do realize that, but I think people doing their placement, doing their DSA in the placement season is not something that should be encouraged. I would really encourage people to, in their first or second year itself, build their profiles on something like a Codeforces, right? Where you have got contests in which a lot of students are participating in a competitive programming sort of a environment. So if you are going to, if you have the time, you are in a first year and have already got exposure to all of this content, then I think you should definitely start with DSA as soon as today, and try and really master DSA, because you have got ample amount of time on your side. You will be able to land a great internship as well, because in internships though, DSA is the only ultimate thing that you need to worry about at all, right? So if you're starting it now, I think you're at a great space, at a great place as well. And Yeah, you should actually aim a bit higher and delve into competitive programming sides of things as well.
Sure. A follow-up question on that by Arushi is that being in the first year, what is the scope of DSA in the future? Will it still hold importance when I pass out? Should I focus on
Yeah,
it? And also after the job. So some people think that it is for to crack the job, you need to know data structures and algorithm. You need to be strong in that. But does it still hold importance? A, after maybe 4 or 5 years down the line, and B, after you have joined the job and you are into the job, what is the importance?
yeah, I understand that. So one thing I would really want you guys to completely understand is even people who are 4 or 5 years experienced out of IIT Delhi going to earn 40, 50 lakhs in their next job are going to have at least a couple of rounds on data structures and algorithms. So this is something that is being asked by everyone from Google to your earliest startup. It is something that has been around for the history of computer science in hiring, and it is something that will stick around because a company wants to judge you on your analytical skills, your problem solving skills, right? And DSA gives them a very good playground to really judge you in an environment which is going to be similar to how your actual functioning is going to be in the company. So as long as people are willing to hire smart folks in tech, and that is a priority for them, I don't think data structures and algorithms are going to go away from hiring.
Sure, sure, sure. Yes. So one question that we have got on the session before, like while the registrations was, so there is this view now that startups are hiring, and they really require you, a fresher, also to be ready with not just the basics of DSA but also the specific skill set. So, for example, if your job is training in one stack, someone might be in Python. So
Right.
what is the difference between the hiring of an MNC and then startup and a startup? Uh, do startups also necessarily look for DSA, or you're good if you are really good in? So, for example, if there's a MERN stack opportunity, so is it fine if your DSA is not that strong? Looking at from a perspective of a person who is typically in a third year going for an internship, yeah.
Yeah, okay. So, first of all, the difference between an MNC and an early stage startup in hiring is an MNC can give you a month or two after joining in to really set your feet and for you to stand up and understand the tools they work with and really get an essence of what the work is going to be. A fast-paced startup is going to be moving really fast. They're going to want features each day. They're going to push commits every weekend. So it is going to be a much faster journey for a person who's joining it. So what startups definitely prefer is someone who already knows the basic tools that he or she will be working with as soon as he joins. So they're going to judge you on those skills more rather than an MNC. Now talking about whether or not DSA is important for early stage roles in startups, I would say linear data structures. So data structures around like your arrays, linked lists, maybe go till heaps. That much you should really get comfortable with. I'm not asking you to be super comfortable with complex algorithms in graphs or dynamic programming, but basic stuff everyone should be comfortable with if he or she is going into tech.
Sure. I think that answers your question. Next question is from Manas. So you mentioned about 2 3 months of good preparation of DSA. So he's asking how many questions to solve each day on an average. What is your suggestion on that?
That depends on the level of questions you're solving as well. So, but see, as long as you're giving in 6 hours each day, I think you will be fine, even if you are solving lesser number of questions in the beginning. Because me personally as well, it might happen that on a particular question I took 4 hours or something, right? So on that day I may have solved only 4 questions, while on other days I might be able to solve 12 or 15 questions in case things are going well on that day, right? So just focus in on the effort don't try to define the outcome initially. Only after you're comfortable, do go for timed sort of structures and prep.
Sure. If there's any follow-up question, Manas, you can put it in the comment section. There's another question from Manas himself. He's asking, I think I'm stuck at a particular skill level in DSA and not able to progress further in advanced topics. Any tips for solving this?
Okay, so in this case, I think you should prefer to revisit the theory once of these complex topics, right? So it might happen that after really implementing the tougher algorithm, so implement your Dijkstra's algorithm, implement your minimum spanning tree questions, and try to just first of all understand the algorithms completely and then implement them. If you've done this once, please try and do this again, because it might happen that things click the second time around. After you've done this, I think you'll be able to solve the tougher questions as well.
Okay.
One more thing I missed on, which I think everyone should do in case they are at a stage where they're preparing for companies now and are comfortable with basic DSA, is you should watch mock interviews. So you can go to something like interviewing.io or even YouTube and just watch people giving their mock interviews. That will really help you understand. So in the end, typically the interviewer would explain what all things the person could have changed and stuff. So I think that is particularly helpful in case you haven't had much practice giving interviews.
Great. On the interviews part, it brings me to the point that next session is also on the mock interviews, technical interviews.
Yeah.
And Sachin Mittal from Interview Vector himself is joining us, and he has a good experience being a techie himself and now going into the working in the interview industry specifically. And we have a good announcement also to make at the end of that session, specifically with respect to interview preparation. So I think that is going to be really helpful for the students. There's a question from Mayank. He says, which programming language should we focus on while preparing for DSA? And also, which language do you guys use?
So, like I said, it is fine to start with any programming language as long as it is decently well known. So something like a C++ or a Java or a Python is ideally what you should prefer. We focus on Java in one of our batches, and another batch is focusing on C++. So the way we decided on this is we looked at the sort of jobs we will be targeting and saw what sort of demand is there in that particular role. That is not to say that you should also go for Java, because the demand for Java would only be available to you once the company realizes that you can build backends, which we teach in JavaScript, and you know Java as well. So companies realize that you'll be able to pick up on Spring in case you join them. So really depends on case to case. For an early role, in case you are in college and looking at companies coming to your college, any language would be fine out of these three.
How do companies actually look at it? As in, can you share more about the employer's perspective of this particular aspect?
So if they're going to hire smart folks and are not going to do a lot of consulting sort of a work, they realize that once a person is able to build your backends and solve data structures questions in a particular language, it will take him less than a week to start solving or adding to their code base. So that is a timeline which is not super tough for companies to get past. So rather than optimizing on people belonging to a particular language for data structures and algorithms, companies judge more on the problem solving skill there.
I hope that answers the question. That was a very insightful answer, Harsh, because that is a very common question of selecting the right language to start with. Yes, so I think Monica is asking the next question. So she's asking, how do we start initially? Maybe, though I know that you covered it a bit, but if you can throw some light again.
Yeah, maybe you follow some programming channels on YouTube or follow a particular website that helps you. Otherwise, you can take the recommendations that I gave, which is to go after the IIT Delhi NPTEL course. You can even read theory from interview bit as well. Apart from this, for solving, go after the easy questions on Geeks for Geeks. So each day, take up a topic from the list. Today, I will do arrays. So just spend an hour watching a video on the theory of arrays. Once you're done with the hour, go to Geeks for Geeks, solve easy questions, easy and basic questions. Start with the basic questions on that particular topic. Repeat the same thing the next day.
Sure. And on that, Monica, I would like to inform that perhaps next week we are we are launching a new feature on the platform, on MyWays platform itself. It is specifically for the beginners, where we bring in the curated content from YouTube and all other open sources for the benefit of the beginners only to start learning. And that feature is completely available for free for everyone. So you can follow up the newsletters. You'll get the information when it is launched. Gurjot is asking, why is Stack Overflow reputation so important to get a job?
Stack Overflow reputation is not very important to get a job if you're going after early stage jobs, right? So I don't think that is something you should really focus on. What you should rather focus on is your DSA and adding projects to your resume. So we have gotten students placed. I personally don't have a Stack Overflow account here. It's not important.
Great. Gurjot, if there's any follow-up question on that, you can put it there. Now, yes, this is an interesting question. So Manas is asking, I have placement in upcoming semester in August. And how do I manage DSA along with other technical subjects required? So this is a very common question in the placement season. All of these techies are quite confused. Ki kiske upar focus kare? Where should we actually focus on? So how to manage time, if you can.
So I do realize that people have gotten through a lot of different topics during their college, and there are a lot of things that are taught to you during your college. But do realize that most of these topics would not add value to you getting a job. You should focus much more on data structures and algorithms. Other topics like DBMS and OS, you should really go for something like articles on Geeks for Geeks that are arranged in a very neat order, and you can just read them up. Don't try to optimize on those things. You won't get many questions from those topics. Give all your extra time after reading those things to data structures and algorithms.
Sure. So there are 2-3 questions specifically about the course. Before that, I would like to take the question by Naima. She says, some internships have coding tests in the initial rounds. So does that mean that the questions will be based on DSA? Or it is a combination of both, or there is something else also which is asked for internships specifically?
No, for internships, I don't think there would be anything. So if it's a coding round, it's going to be around data structures and algorithms, right? So it may be a simple question. So something like, I don't know, something to do with arrays wherein you have to solve it in a linear time complexity or something. But yeah, it will be around data structures and algorithms.
So I think I would like to add on that part. I guess most of the MNCs, they definitely do not consider, even for jobs, in most of the cases, DSA need to be very strong. Internships, in internship, they do not ask beyond DSA, but startups specifically, they look for, because as Harsh already mentioned, that they look for people who are already trained, because they do not have enough resources and time, more importantly, to train the people on the job. They look for someone who already has some experience. So there are a lot of people who apply on it for internships on MyWays also. And we have seen that people who have built certain skill set in addition to the basics of programming, competitive coding. Like for example, if you're looking for a MERN stack job, if you know JavaScript, definitely you will be considered and preferred over someone else. If you're targeting a startup.
One more resource people can use for JavaScript is javascript.info. So there are going to be a lot of articles around the theory around JavaScript in case you guys want to delve deep into it. One thing about JavaScript is that it is not your standard language. There are a lot of behaviors which might seem weird to a person coming from a Python or a Java or a C++ background. So it is important to go into the theory of JavaScript, and interviewers focus it on a lot as well. So in case you have JavaScript or they're looking for JavaScript, they'll ask you questions around theoretical concepts in JavaScript, something like hoisting or the use of arrow functions or the asynchronous behavior. So these are all topics which you should really focus on a lot in case you're looking at JavaScript.
Sure. So there's another question, Harsh, and this is about the people who are doing the jobs, right? And if they are they want to shift into a coding job, they cannot give enough time, as you mentioned. So what is the right way ahead for them?
The best way would be to join our course, because our course is available to people who are working as well. The classes are in the evening from 9 to 11. The doubt sessions are sometime from 8 to 9, or they are from 11 to 12 as well. And whenever we want to take a class during the day hours, we take it on the weekends. So it is perfectly tailored for a person who's already doing some sort of a job and wants to break into a tech role. In case you are from a completely non-technical background, are not joining the course, then I think it would be pretty tough if you have a lot of if you have to give a lot of hours to your job. But the process remains the same. So you will have to take up programming first of all, and then look towards data structures. Maybe spend a couple of weeks breaking into one particular programming language, and then move from there.
Sure. I think just to to add on to that, I guess people who are already doing a job, some of those they prefer learning alongside, maybe from some short courses or from YouTube. And once they're good with it, they start with like giving a resignation to the current job and joining a small internship for 2 or 3 months. And that is what, like, I've seen in many of the cases, have actually taken a boost in their career. These kind of people.
Actually, some of our students are from completely non-technical backgrounds as well, and they have been placed in jobs without doing internships as well. So that is also possible. So one of our students, BSc Physics grad, got a 9 LPA offer, joined directly without doing any sort of intern. So those things are possible in case you're willing to put in the effort there. Yeah.
Sure. So there are some people who are asking about explain normalization and its type. I guess Vivek, we should have another session for that. That is a normal Q&A. So if there's some general question that you have, we would be happy to take it up. On the jobs part itself, Harsh, about the course, someone is asking. So there seems to be a good like attention and attraction to the AKJob course, and it has been there in our community. So someone is asking, this minimum 5 LPA clause that you have, if someone is already doing a job, would that still hold true, or there would be certain another minimum bar? How does it work?
In case you're already doing a job above, in case you're doing a job below a 5 LPA, that doesn't come into the picture, right? We don't worry about that. You don't have to pay us anything associated with that. In case you're doing a job above 5 LPA in tech, you will be a sort of a custom case. So we will have a discussion with you post the 1 week free course we have given, and mutually come to an agreeable bar for your particular contract, something that you are also comfortable with and we are also comfortable with. So it could be, so for some people it has been as high as 10 LPA as well. So it is not something that 5 is the minimum bar in case you have already got a proven track record of being able to get high paying jobs.
Sure. I think, Kavik, to that, I would add that with our working with AKJob, they have been very specific and very limited to admitting people to their courses. And that is where they ensure good customization and personalization of the attention to the student. Akhil is asking, now I am in 4th year, 2nd semester. I got placed with 4 LPA. by taking this course, will I be placed in any company which pays about 7-8 LPA? I think yes, that's a possibility.
Yeah, that's a definite possibility. That's probably the average case. So in case you're putting in effort, that is at least as much as every other student in the batch, you should be able to get that.
Sure. So we'll take the last question from Prashant. He's asking, because we're running out of time, at 3 p.m. everyone will be joined by Sachin Mittal, the founder of Interview Vector. The discussion is going to be around preparation for the technical interviews. He's an interesting person to listen, and we're going to definitely have a good discussion. So please stay tuned. This last question, Prashant is asking, how important are internships for freshers? I would add on to whatever you say, Harsh. So I have.
Yeah, internships are important. Internships show that you have worked with the tools of the industry and have got some experience behind you. You can also get some letters of recommendation from people and some contacts from the place you are working at, so which might convert to a PPO as well in the best case. So internships are definitely important, but it is not like if you don't have an internship in tech, you cannot break into tech. That is a myth that I have already personally seen broken many times before. And don't think of it as an inhibitor to you doing your best right now, right? Do your best right now. It is completely possible to land a great job without an internship as well. If you do have the option of going for an internship, it is preferable that you do that.
Yes, I think definitely an internship is not definitely an inhibitor. It is a good enabler, and so a lot of people. So we work on the referral basis at MyWays, right? So we refer to the employers, and definitely some of the employers do mention that someone who has done at least 1 or 2 internships, we would prefer that candidate over anyone else. So there's this running joke going around in the freshers community as well. So we are just winding up this session. Yes. So this is a running joke that HR specifically asks for experience in the freshers, but they do not provide any opportunity for for a fresher to become experienced. I think you should definitely have, if you're in second year of college, I think you should make it a point till the time you graduate. You should have at least 1 or preferably 2 internships in the tech space. If you are having internship in non-tech and trying to go into tech, that also does not count in most of the cases. So with that, thanks a lot, Harsh, for taking your time out. This was really insightful, and I think there are a lot of other questions also which are coming up, but we are short of time. Thanks a lot for your time, and we hope to work together even in future. Thank you.
Great. Thank you, Samyak. Thank you, guys. I hope you learned something, and I hope I was adding value to your lives. Thank you so much, guys.
Thank you for joining in. Thank you. So yes,
Adding value to your lives. Thank you so much, guys.
Thank you for joining in. Thank you.